are 20 billion games like that. I did get in Angry Birds though. Like that happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I don't blame you. It was a cool idea.
You know what I was just thinking about as far as mobile games? I was like, shit, Words with Friends was fun.
It was. That was huge for a while. What I really miss is the fact that I miss Plants vs. Zombies the way that it used to be. Because they came out with a Plants vs. Zombies 2, and it was just like all monetized, and it was like just so depressing. Like, oh yeah, you want this plant that you used to use all the time? It's gonna be $5. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm good.
That always sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I never really got into Candy Crush. Similar structure games, but not that one in particular.
Right. Those match 3 and match 4 games always suck me in. If it's a license that I like I know for a while you and I were both playing that We Bare Bears game, which was fun.
Yes. I still chime into that every once in a while.
Really? Yeah, I haven't checked it out in a while. I play the Disney emoji one now.
I never played that.
Yeah, because the cool thing about that is as you unlock different emojis in the game, you get them for your phone too. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I was playing chess on my phone for a little while.
Ooh.
And then I downloaded Words with Friends again because I was like, let me go back. And then I was like, I don't know any of these fucking people. Never mind.
Oh, man. Oh, I guess we should get started. Hello, everybody.
Oh, I thought we were already started. All right.
Yeah, but we got to do like the, bells and whistles thing. Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
people.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to Lex and Matt's Excellent Adventure. This is our 25th episode, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
25. We did not prepare.
We didn't.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be the lamest extravaganza ever.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, thank you guys for listening and encouraging us to do this for 25 episodes. Technically more, because we have mini-sodes, and we have the Patreon exclusive episodes, and the live show, and all that stuff. So you guys...
I know, and the numbering on... I always want to say iTunes, but Apple Podcasts kills me every time. Ugh.
Same. If any of you know how to take those numbers off of there, I'll be the first to admit I don't know how to do it. Because my numbering is correct, but it always assigns it a number as well. Like, oh no, this is the 27th episode you've done. Like, I know, I get it. Okay.
And you can do it because other people have done it.
Other people do all kind of cool stuff. Right. Yeah. Michael Rosenbaum, if you're listening, hit me up, dude. I don't know how to do it, man. So anyway, that's our spiel. Check us out, lexandmattpod.com, lexandmattpod.com. Does that sound right to you? lexandmattpod.com. Yeah. Yes, that is our website. Now that I've said it 3 times in a row. I don't know, I just felt like I was missing one of the words in there.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's our website. Check it out. Got all the links to the social medias, the patrons, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the things are there.
So we reached out to you folks this week and we said, hey, if there's anything that you would like us to talk about, let us know. Maybe we'll give it a shout out on the show. And we got a couple of interesting responses. First up is from one of our friends, Larry Arroyo. And he says he wants us to talk about the numerous Power Ranger knockoffs that we had growing up. So, Lex, maybe it was last episode we were talking about Power Rangers, and I was surprised to find out that you were actually a fan of Power Rangers at one point.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I watched it a bit. I think that was definitely a thing for kids my age.
Yeah.
I wasn't like a super fan, but I remember being like, yeah, like everyone thought whatever Ranger. I remember liking the Green Ranger, and I think that was because I just like green.
Okay.
At the time.
Well, they did market him as like the coolest Ranger too. He was like the bad boy.
Did they? Yeah.
Hair.
I just remember picking picking a Ninja Turtle for weird reasons. I don't know.
Well, everybody liked Michelangelo because he was the party dude, obviously.
No, I didn't like Michelangelo.
What? Who was your favorite?
I like Leonardo. I've always liked Leonardo.
Okay.
I like the straight lace, like, I'm the, like, of the, the way I compare it is like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm the Santiago of the group where I'm like, oh my God, let's color code this. Yes. Like, so to me, I was like, yeah, this guy is not causing any trouble. Let's go with him. He's leading. Do you know how difficult it is to be a leader? That is incredibly difficult.
Not only that, but he was still being micromanaged by like the guy that trained them. Splinter was always around. So
Yeah.
it was like no matter what he did, it was always like, yes, Master Splinter. And it's like, dude, man, there's a glass ceiling above Leonardo, but he does his best to cut through it with those katana.
Yeah, no, I've always been fascinated with the story of like, how do you lead? How do you do this? How do you maintain being a good turtle? I don't know. I get like the ones who are like, you know, the Ferris Buellers of the world. I understand why they're entertaining, but I'm a Cameron, you know?
Yeah. I like the in the Brooklyn Nine-Nine scenario, I'm a Diaz fan. I thought she was dope. Or is dope.
Oh,
she's still around. Yeah.
I want to be Diaz. I relate to a lot of Diaz tendencies.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, in my like craziness, I'm an Amy.
Well, back to the Super Sentai series. So we're gonna start from jump here with the Power Rangers stuff. Of course, we touched on this a little bit, but the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was basically cobbled together from scenes filmed here in America with the very oddly paint by color cast that they had for the first series. You know, the Black Ranger was a black guy, the Pink Ranger was the girl, the Red Ranger was like, you know, the kind of like redneck dude.
Yellow Ranger was also a girl.
She was an Asian girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just kind of like...
That wasn't problematic at all.
Man, not at all. So that was already an interesting thing. But then they would...
I remember that, though. They had two girls, and I was like, oh my god, you can choose which girl you like more.
Like, that was cool. Like, that was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think I liked Pink Ranger. I don't remember.
And if you notice, and this is just kind of like a weird thing to point out, but in the Japanese version, the Super Sentai that they were basically just kind of like taking and splicing into the show, only the Pink Ranger had a skirt on. And that's because in the Super Sentai series, the Yellow Ranger was a guy. But, you know, for their purposes, they were like, no, we want a girl to be in this role. So kudos to Saban for being progressive in that regard, at least.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Can't have it all.
Yeah, you know, we have a show about all these martial arts. Might be a good idea to put an Asian American person in the mix, you know, which they did, but they also made her the Yellow Ranger, which was an option.
It doesn't make any sense. They could have made her the Pink Ranger.
They could have.
And all they had to do, literally all they had to do, was fucking swap the two different female color rangers, or swap her with any of the guys. It doesn't matter. Like, but why did you have to color code? Ugh, whatever.
Yeah. So that was that. But there were many other spin-offs of, the Super Sentai series. There was, I don't know if you remember one called Mach Rider.
No.
Which was basically about this guy, like, he had kind of like a bug helmet thing, and he rode a motorcycle around. You know who'd be much better equipped to discuss this would be Eric from Turtle Soup.
Yeah.
Because he not only is a fan of these, he collects them too. He has like a ton of the different like Kamen Rider. Did I say Mach Rider at first? Mach Rider was a Nintendo game. Kamen Rider is what I'm thinking of.
It's literally all gibberish.
It's all gibberish. So. There was also Big Bad Beetleborgs, which was this weird thing where these kids drove around like 3 bug-shaped vehicles that fought against evildoers. But
my favorite part about this is that you could just be spewing syllables, and I would not fucking know. You could be like, then you had the Gleelorps, and I'd be like, yeah, sure.
You had the Flip Phone 5, which just had flip phones. And they would transform using these flip phones, and they would dial a certain number and turn into a certain type of robot.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, I would too. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. I need to write that down. But
nobody
they had all these.
Steal it.
But the most ridiculous one, and this was, I remember this like Sunday mornings on USA Network, was one called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Cool. What am I supposed to say to that?
I don't know, but it was all S's too. It was like 4
were
S's.
Fucking weird, man. I don't know.
Now, the most memorable thing about this show is that it was a vehicle for Matthew Lawrence, because his big brother Joey was such a big deal on Blossom. They wanted to have, him lead up this show. So he was a kid that basically possessed this giant robot that had to fight crime. Video games were involved somehow. It was very extreme.
So this was pre Boy Meets World.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because he was on there after that. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, this one was completely unrelated to Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, and all that other stuff. It was just its own thing, but it was obviously a knockoff. It was just so interesting. I don't know. It just kind of struck me as just kind of like a bootleg version of it at the time. And the production was so awful, but it had a lot more in common with like the Godzilla Toho stuff with like guys in big rubber suits fighting each other instead of, hey, let's be about positivity and hanging out with other teens. It was just like, no, man, we fight giant monsters every week. That's what we do. So that is the history, very condensed, of the Power Rangers knockoffs. So thanks for writing in, Larry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Christopher Martinez said that Ernie Colon passed away last week and wanted us to address that, the artist.
Ernie Colon is an artist. He worked heavily for American outlets like DC, Atlas, and Eclipse, most famously known for creating the character Amethyst, Princess of Gem World. Now, what's interesting about that is it almost seems like it's the inspiration behind Steven Universe in a lot of ways, especially with a character named Amethyst. But this character recently has come back into the limelight in the recent relaunch of Young Justice, written by Brian Michael Bendis. So for folks that are unfamiliar with Amethyst, that's where she kicked off, like back in the 80s, back when like She-Ra and Gem were really big. It was kind of a character like that. So
right.
Yeah, he was very much, had his finger on the pulse of pop culture going on there.
And I looked it up, and he was, it sounds like he lived a very long life, did a lot of things, and that's at least fortunate that was the case. But it still sucks when, legends pass away.
Absolutely, yeah. He was born in 1931. He passed at the age of 88. That's a long life for a comic creator, and you want your favorites to live forever. But eventually they do pass, and we offer.
Listen,
they
don't want to live forever at that point.
No.
Like, I'm out, man.
Yeah. But I mean, his body of work is so impressive. He worked for all the big companies: Marvel, Malibu, Valiant. He did some Casper the Friendly Ghost. Little Dot, Little Audrey, all that stuff. Richie Rich. So he was like one of those artists that could just like basically imitate any house style to fit what they needed, and that was like a real skill to have, back then. Yeah, now it seems like artists bring their own style with them, and they try to like make that work within the brand. Like the Archie comics. Archie, it used to be if you could draw in that Archie style, you basically had a job for life. Like Dan Parent. Dan Parent is like the modern day guy that can draw in that 60s, 1940s and 50s, basically Archie comic style. But you see, they're bringing on other guys now. They're bringing on, the modern day masters. So there's that. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Beamo because he's trying to fight.
What's so funny is I was distracted by Sammy because he's literally holding my free hand, so I can't get the phone. So it's like, why are animals trying to distract us right now?
One last fun fact about Ernie Colon: he drew the New Kids on the Block Magic Summer Tour comic in 1990.
Oh, that's not the best thing for his resume, but R.I.P.
No. But hey, work is work, man. You do what you do. All right. Well, thanks for writing in, Christopher. Last but not least of our listener request this week is John Craig. He wants to know, why are we going back to the View-Askew-niverse? Is it just to keep Jason Mewes off the pills? No, Jason Mewes.
Fuck off, John Craig. What the fuck is wrong with you, bud? You're such a dick.
He is.
Seriously.
It's his brand. It's his brand, but we love him.
I am well aware of his brand.
Thanks for writing in, John Craig. No, you know what? The Viewer's Universe is special to me because, you know, I love the fact that it kind of represents different stages of Kevin Smith's life. Like recently, he did a live reading of the Clerks 3 script that he wrote that he just couldn't get produced, or it just didn't work out for some reason. And he made mention like, okay, Clerks was him in his 20s, you know, just as kind of like an angry shop clerk and kind of venting in that way. Clerks 2 was him in his 30s, just kind of like, you know, happy-go-lucky and really trying to find his footing on his adulthood. And now this is like him in his 40s and 50s and the rest of his life. So that's kind of cool to like view it that way. As far as Mewes goes, he's busy, man. Like what's great about Jason Mewes, he's a success story because after they did the whole, what was it? Jay and Silent Bob Get Old thing, kind of where it started with that podcast is that was an excuse to keep him distracted from drugs. Now he's got so many irons in the fire. I mean, it's kind of cool to see how far he's come. And I hope that Kevin Smith is proud of the part that he played in that. Because I know it really takes, you know, the person being committed to it. But the fact that he stuck by Mewes for that long and was just that loyal to him and his sobriety, that's really cool. You know?
So my response to this is why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's his, it's honestly, it's Kevin Smith's playbox and sandbox, whatever you want to call it. And why?
I was with you. It's fine.
Yeah. But why wouldn't we want to go back to that? Like, if you don't want to, I mean, who cares? It's his. Like, you know, let him make these movies. Right. He's not, we've talked about this before. I'm not saying John Craig hates Kevin Smith, but like the Kevin Smith kind of like hate or blah with him or whatever this is.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying it. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes he makes things I like, sometimes he doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't, if he makes a movie that I don't like, I'm like, cool, whatever. Let's see what the next one is. Like, I mean, it's that way with every
It's cyclical.
person.
It really is cyclical. It's like, you know, the famous line from the X-Men film where they go, what do you expect us to wear? Yellow spandex and all that stuff. It's like, okay, 2000, that was cool to see them looking all like hardcore and, you know, just like metal and all that stuff and emo. But then it was like, you know, fans kind of softened up after a while. Like, yeah, I kind of do want to see him in the yellow spandex. So, where is that? It's like, okay, the best example is it's like ska music. Most people don't like it, but they keep making it. So that means somebody's listening.
Yeah, that somebody's John fucking Craig. But here's the thing.
Okay.
This is my defense. I think this will probably be my long-standing defense of Kevin Smith. He always encourages people to make things.
That's true.
And so for me, I'm always going to encourage him to make things.
Yeah. I mean, he was JTG in it before JTG thought about pressing record. Yeah.
He's one of those people that's always like, yes, go do it. You've got it. You're a writer. You're a filmmaker. You're this, you're that. Go do it right now.
Right.
And that's amazing. Like, I love that.
That encouragement is important to so many people. I mean, even beyond just his own creativity, the cheerleader aspect of it all. You know, like with a lot of the stuff that happens on the CW shows, with the shows he directs and everything like that, a lot of that attitude is reflected in Stephen Amell. Not saying Kevin Smith's responsible for it, but I'm saying it's that same similar type of attitude, just to say, hey, let's try this. Let's see how far we can make this go. Just like every single news story that we read about the upcoming Crisis crossover, it's like, let's ask Burt Ward to be a part of this. Let's see if we can get Kevin Conroy on screen as Batman for the first time.
Looks like Tom Welling now.
Let's get fucking Tom Welling back. You know, like everybody.
He's seemingly confirmed on his Instagram that he's going to be in it, which I'm fucking thrilled for. But yeah, no, I mean, all of these actors who work with him on set in that universe love him.
Sure.
So clearly he's bringing, you know, who was it that was talking about that, like how he's so positive on set and every single take He has so much enthusiasm. I think it might have been Grant Gustin.
Well, yeah, him too. But I mean, Kevin Smith does toot his own horn quite a bit. But sometimes you got to be your own cheerleader. You know what I mean? Like you have to be the one.
No one else is going to be his cheerleader.
That's what I'm saying. Like you got to
be honest. No one else likes it. Like he's not the most talented guy in the room, but so he's got to be the most charming. Like that's his thing, you know?
You show up on time, you do your job.
Yeah.
And you try to keep a positive attitude while doing it. And that's how I try to live my life. It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, I think he's a big influence in those ways of like make the thing yourself, and then encourage others, help others. You know, I love all of that. So he's making his movies.
Right.
Cool.
Right. So I kind of dipped a toe into the Tom Welling news. Seemingly, he confirmed on his Instagram.
He said duh in response to, and I posted it on our Instagram so you can go look at it. But it was like, oh, I hope you're in crisis. And he said, duh. Like,
and then a gaggle of dudes came and tried to shut it down. I'm like, not today. Let's try to remain positive. Let's hope for the best here. And the best would be that he comes in and he plays Superman one last time, you know, or if he wants to do it many times, let him do it many times. I don't care. Superman's great.
I think he's gonna show up in the flannel. Like, I don't think he's gonna suit up. That's not what he's gonna do. They're gonna have Brandon Routh suited up.
That's true.
I am perfectly fine. I know everyone's gonna flip out. They're gonna want Welling completely suited up. That was never what that show was about. If he shows up in the flannel, I'll be happy.
If he shows up either way, I'll be happy. You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree. Obviously, seeing him in that suit would, freak me the fuck out.
Yeah.
But I would understand if he both didn't want to do that and if they didn't think that was the right move for the feel of the original show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So this is my take on it right now. I mean, we've had a lot of exciting announcements about Crisis in the past couple of weeks, ever since Comic-Con, basically, including Comic-Con and to now. It's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a beautiful mess. And so I'm just going to grab some popcorn and I'm going to chill the fuck out and enjoy what's on my screen because, man, this is the last hurrah for a lot of these guys. I mean, we never thought we'd see Burt Ward associated with any type of superhero anything going forward, you know?
I feel like they're going to have to make them longer.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how even with 4 hours, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's got more time than Infinity War, but it's got more characters and more actors in Infinity War. I remember the scene from the last crossover where they got them all involved, and it was just like they had everybody in costume and everybody was like standing in line or on some stairs or something. And it was just intimidating how many heroes they had standing up there. I was so impressed. I got chills seeing that because it's like you never think growing up you're going to see this sort of entertainment on TV.
On TV.
Right. Like legit great costumes on your TV screen. So and small to me, including Smallville in this is incredibly important because without Smallville, none of this would have happened. Right.
And they, Amel has talked about that. It's very much acknowledged that that's the original. So if they can pay tribute to Smallville in some capacity, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And they have. Like, they featured the Kent farm, but I want a little bit more.
They did. They featured the Kent farm and they played the theme song during the last crossover too, which I felt so like that was such a tease, man. I'm like, oh, really?
It was, but it was worth. I was still okay with it. I was like,
yeah. I'm like, all right, this is what we're getting, and it's fine. So the rumor is as well that the Titans from the DC Universe series, which is coming back for a second season very soon. That they're going to be featured in some way as well, which I don't know how that's going to work out. I know that DC likes to keep
This is very speculative.
This is very speculative.
From a website that we do not... This is one of the few that I have read that I'm like, I doubt it.
We'll call it... It's Heroic Hollywood, and that's not the most reputable website.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. And their source is somebody in in a Reddit forum, I believe. So, take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
We're all fan casting right now. We all want to see everything on the screen. But as you mentioned earlier, with 4 hours, it's going to be barely possible to fit all of this.
Yeah,
into,
I have
stuff.
no. My thing with Teen Titans is why would you want to include it? I just don't feel the need to. Like, it's still new. I don't think it would be that big of fan service. I don't think there are that many people. Like, not to bash Teen Titans, but I don't think there are that many fans of it.
I mean, it's a popular
got a fan base, but
it does have a fan base, and it's a great show too. Don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of, like, if you want to feature something like that on the CW, does it really do them a benefit to put them in there at all, outside of just like a high and buy, Yeah. What I love about this idea, what I love about the Crisis period, is the fact that they can use this as a MacGuffin. If any of these shows that are currently in production has a plot line they need to wrap up or just forget about, or a bad guy that needs to get killed off, Crisis. Just there and gone. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels kind of cheap, but hey, speaking of, you wrote that review about the most recent season of Arrow that's going to be on Blu-ray very soon.
Yeah.
And what's great about that set is the fact that, and I think this has always been the case, CW always includes the crossover episodes, like all the crossover episodes on any collection you get. So if you get Flash, you're getting that whole crossover. You get Arrow, you're getting all those episodes, even the Supergirl episodes. So that's really cool.
Which is a huge benefit to streaming.
Absolutely.
Because they don't do that when you're watching it streaming.
Right.
You're just, all of a sudden you're in a random episode.
Yeah. It's like, hey, here's part 3 of this crossover. Right. You got to hunt them down. Hopefully they're all on the same streaming service. But yeah, with those Blu-rays, they hook you up, and that's kind of cool. That's a value add right there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was
Plus,
cool.
you can watch it in the bunker. That was a part of my review too.
That's right. You can watch it in your bunker.
But yeah, I'm skeptical of the Teen Titans thing. Not so much with Welling. I have this like secret hope, and this is a weird one, but I have this like little thing where, cause Tom Welling was on Rosenbaum's podcast recently, and he was talking about what would he do, like, if they brought him back, and they were talking about, like, oh, would you go and do shows like that? And Tom Welling was like, oh, I'd play Batman, because that's totally different. And I'm like, motherfucker, what if they bring him on, but he's not Superman, he's Bruce Wayne, and then he's Bruce Wayne on Batwoman?
That'd be very interesting.
I would
so interesting.
Love that. I would. That's actually probably the only thing I would love more than him being, because it would mean more of him in the universe.
I mean, that's cool. I could see that happening.
It's not going to happen, but it's just
that's a little off brand for them, because they try to put those legacy characters at least on a show that fits the legacy. At least that's been their MO up until now. Maybe they'll try to do something special for Welling if he gets that itch. Like, of course you remember the episodes of Smallville that featured, oh my goodness, Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they do that for him, he came in, he played a completely new character, still very heavily tied to that lore. We may see he could pop up on like Krypton or something like that, which is still happening on Sci-Fi, and I hear is very good, but I haven't had a chance to watch it.
I'm saying I either want him to show up in Crisis as Clark Kent, or I want Crisis to be the launching point where he is Bruce Wayne and Batman in that universe. Now, see, those are the only two options. That's it.
I admire that and I appreciate that, but if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna hype up Katie Kelly, or I'm sorry, what is her name? Batwoman. If we're gonna hype her up, Katie Kane, thank you. If we're gonna hype her up like that, we already know we're getting some Kevin Conroy live action. We could have him play Batman on there. We could have him play a retired Bruce Wayne or whatever.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. I'm saying the only other scenario that I would be cool with would be if he wanted to play Batman or some villain or I don't know, whatever.
I kind of get a vibe that they're going to be mixing in some Batman Beyond lore with Batwoman. Yeah. Just to kind of like, spice it up a little bit. Plus, I mean, like current day, we're in the time that Batman Beyond would have been taking place.
I really think we're going to see I think we're going to see like 5 seconds of Tom Welling, unfortunately. I think that's what the cameo... I think it's going to be a very short cameo.
Yeah.
And it's never going to feel like enough.
Well, we might get some Brandon Routh talking to himself, as the Atom.
Yeah.
I kind of get a feeling we'll see that.
I think they're gonna lean way heavier on Routh than they are Tom Welling.
Oh man, that'd
be
so
Tom
weird.
Welling comes back.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll check it out. I mean, it's gonna be great. Like I said, it's gonna be popcorn. Speculation's
when
running wild
again?
right
December?
now. Yeah, it's too far away.
Not to sound old, but it'll be here before you know it.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So last week you touched on something that I found very interesting, and I wanted to circle back and discuss that a little bit more. You were talking a little bit about Howard Stern and how your impression has changed about him over the years.
What was the context? Do you remember the context of this?
Man, I really don't. And
I don't either. These all just like mushed together.
Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot. So that does happen, and that's fair. But you did mention something about Howard Stern and about just like, because I think it was because I mentioned Robin and how she kind of like validates a lot of the stuff that he said on the show, at least back in the day, as far as being
she's the anchor of that show. That show wouldn't exist wouldn't have survived without Robin. She was the sanity for a great many years and is still the sanity of that show.
Yeah.
So, Howard Stern has the reputation, or has previously had the reputation, of being crazy on his show, to be like do really insane bits and to push the limits, and he is the most popular radio host ever. Like, there's no doubt about that. He is the biggest ever.
No doubt.
And he's still huge. Like, he still has millions of listeners. He still is an anchor for Sirius XM.
Right. He's the reason some people still subscribe.
Yes, absolutely. And pay extra, by the way, because I have XM, and you have to pay extra for Howard Stern, and we do, because we have a friend who's also on there with us, and it was originally he wanted it, but I was listening to Stern.
Imagine that type of pull that you're holding up an antiquated service that basically would not exist without you, which is the satellite paying for satellite radio. Like, who does that besides Stern fans?
I mean, I get it. Like, especially if you're not, like, there are people like, my dad and stuff who regular radio sucks.
Yeah.
But he's not subscribing to Apple, or Spotify or anything like that. Like, he's subscribing, and he can listen to football on there. He can listen to comedy. Like, they have a lot of stand-up comedy. That's one of his favorite things. Mine as well. Like, there's a lot of different things on, So I still get it. Like, I understand.
Like, and I'm being really tough on it, and I'm being kind of, just over the top about it. But, like, you're right. There is a lot of stuff on there. And first world problems, but having to control the music that you listen to all the time, it's hard, guys. So sometimes it's nice to let the radio drive, And it's nice to let the radio drive without commercial interruptions.
Without commercials, but also just better music, because you can get into such specific genres.
Right, like the Pearl Jam channel. Okay, so when I rent a car, or like if I've just leased a car and I get the preview or something like that, I will check out XM for those couple of weeks just because it's interesting to see like where it is. And it does like change quite a bit in the interim, when I'm between subscription. So yeah, the Pearl Jam channel is amusing to me because this is basically live performances of all your favorite Pearl Jam songs, but they'll just play like full concerts, and it's still entertaining. And like you said, the stand-up channel is pretty fun too. I like those. Those are good. Yeah,
I don't particularly listen to those specific ones because it's just too much for me, but there's other ones that are... Anyway, this is not the point. So, so he's incredibly influential. Like, there's no doubt about that. He is a cultural touchstone, for lack of a better term. But he has this reputation of being like chauvinist and this and that. And that's what I had always heard about Howard Stern.
Of course.
I never really listened to Howard Stern. And I knew he had bits, and I'd seen like private parts and stuff like that. Like, so I knew he was crazy. He admitted he was doing crazy stuff. Like, it's not as if he denied doing all of these things.
Okay.
What I think is really interesting about Howard Stern in the past couple years in particular is that he has become a huge advocate for therapy and seeking mental health. He goes like 5 days a week or whatever, and he talks about it. And he had, I think it was Cardi B on his show recently, and he was like, hey, you know what you should do? Because you got so much going on right now. How old are you? You're 26. You got so much going on in your life. You should go to therapy. You should seek therapy because it'll help you out so much. And she's like, I don't have things. He's like, you don't even know that you have these things until you like get in there. And he's talked openly about he doesn't hate the thing. There's a Conan O'Brien's podcast. He's on there and he talks a little bit more in depth about this, but how it's not necessarily he regrets the things that he's done, but he wouldn't do it again. Yeah. And how he's changed his perspective. And I was thinking about this. That he has all of these men listening to his show. Mm-hmm. That he has a big influence on men, and he's a big influence on a lot of problematic men. And how hearing a guy that they look up to, that they love, average Joe guys, listening to him go, God, therapy really helped me out. This thing really, and I regret doing this and that. And and you don't hear any Me Too movement stories about Howard Stern. At least we haven't. We're not hearing him actually disrespecting women. So to me, he's actually he seems to be a positive male force right now.
Now that is interesting. And I do wonder about that too, because as you mentioned, my basic take on Howard Stern, not listening to him on a daily basis, not having listened to him on a regular basis, even in the height of his popularity, but having seen private parts and seeing like his appearances on other media around that time promoting the movie, it basically came across as just your everyday shock jock sort of thing. Like absolutely. He was responsible for the creation of that term. All the copycats that are around, like your Opies and Anthonys and your Man Cows and those type of guys,
100%.
They all owe their career to him. 100% they do. And what's funny about that too is just to get themselves over, they'll often express bitterness towards him.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, he's the old guard. We're new. It's like nobody's buying that, dude. If you're doing a Howard Stern shtick, just own up to it and you'll get more respect that way. But there's a certain type of, rhythm in these AM radio, not even AM rather, but morning radio jockeys. They just have a certain way of bullying people, and that hasn't changed with the spin-offs, with the folks that were inspired by him. It seems like they just got stuck in that routine. Mancow is still doing the same shtick.
Yeah, and he has evolved. He has evolved, I think, in a big way.
Yeah.
Stern has. And I would also argue he is one of the, and I don't think anyone would disagree with this, but he's one of the greatest interviewers around. He breaks through with people, and I've listened to numerous interviews, and it depends on the person, how he approaches them. It's fascinating to watch. Because they have, I can listen to it in the car, listen to it on my phone, but they also have video now. So I can watch a video like of him interviewing so-and-so. And it's so interesting because people come in and they really talk to him and they let their guard down, and he creates an environment where people feel comfortable.
Now, it's interesting because I find a parallel between him and Jimmy Kimmel in that way.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Kimmel is particularly interesting to me, and I sort of this ties into what you're talking about. But the whole idea of a overly chauvinistic guy, you look at where he started out at the Man Show on Comedy Central and some other, I think it was on another channel before that too. But it was him and Adam Carolla. And Adam Carolla was at one point I don't know, he was a little bit more moderate when it came to his way of thinking.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he was on Loveline with Dr. Drew. And so he'd hear all kind of different stories from different people who were going through, you know, just all walks of life. And it seemed like he was just kind of level headed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jimmy Kimmel was like just ultra chauvinistic, ultra out there,
Yeah.
doing everything in the name of comedy. As long as it's funny, it doesn't matter.
And comedy doesn't always age well.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean that it was right then and it's not right now. It can always be wrong.
Yeah.
But
that's not even where I'm going with this. What I'm going off of with this one is, it's amazing that now Adam Carolla is the more like conservative guy.
Yeah.
After all these years, and now Jimmy Kimmel is the outspoken, like, I guess, you know, you have to put him in a cup and be like, you know, the liberal cup, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's the one that's outspoken about freedom of speech and about, you know, just equal rights and all that stuff. It's amazing. And I wonder what happened in their careers, you know, besides the obvious of him getting a you know, network TV show and Adam kind of doing his own thing over the years. What happened with them that put them on such drastically different paths?
This is a weird question, but do you know if Adam Carolla has children?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, because I used to listen to his podcast because he was like, you know, one of the biggest podcasts in the world at one point. But then it got a little repetitive to me. I know he's got a strong fan base. I don't want to, you know, dig in too hard on that. But yeah,
I will say that okay. This is how I will put it, because there is a fan base out there. I find a different host person who is in the podcast realm who has a large influence to be far more problematic, but not as overtly as everyone else thinks Howard Stern is. There is some toxic masculinity out there, and I do not think Howard Stern deserves that bullshit label anymore.
Okay.
The label that I would argue some very famous comedians who have very famous podcasts are doing and poisoning the brains of many people.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. It's just, as I mentioned before, I feel like it's Howard Stern's acolytes that are doing him more of a disservice now than it's just Howard Stern himself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said, Shock Jock did not exist before Howard Stern made it a thing. So, and I mean, it's not like he can't have these guys have a come to Jesus moment because they are so bitter towards him. It's like, you know, kids growing up and hating their parents or something like that, but still doing basically the same thing that their parents did. So, yeah, Mancow's never going to have a come to Jesus moment. And it's weird because, like, you know, Chicago's done so much for him. He's been here for years. He's been on the airwaves forever, as far as, you know, just me in high school and beyond. He's got a wife, he's got kids and everything like that, but he still thinks his shit doesn't stink. And it just fascinates me, just like the stuff that he gets away with, the phone pranks and the, you know, the mocking songs about politicians and stuff like that. It's just all cookie cutter, just bullshit. And it's just, people love it. This is what they love on their drive into work.
Yeah, I would, it's funny because I would encourage people to go listen to Stern, more recent Stern bits. And I think he has a YouTube channel, so he has some bits out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how recent this is. I don't know if this was like Trump getting elected, like how that messed up so many people. I don't know if it's been I know he's talked about like how he's been in therapy for many years. He even talked about when he was promoting his latest book, which is, you know, his favorite interviews and whatnot, how much he regretted his previous books because he hurt his daughters. Oh, wow. You know, like he hurt his family, and how he doesn't want to, you know, bring pain. He doesn't want to. I mean, particularly Conan O'Brien's podcast, him on Conan O'Brien's podcast, those two talking is just wonderful. I really, you know, so I never hated Stern. I never viewed him in a really negative light. I was kind of like, some dicks listen to him, but you know, I kind of went, ugh, okay, whatever. And I don't view that way now. I hope that he continues to speak the way that he's speaking about, particularly therapy, because I think that the more men, particularly men who are admired by other men, like other men admire him, look up to him, who talk about their feelings, who talk about breaking things down. I think that's incredibly powerful, and I think that that helps everyone in our society.
Now, I hope that his listeners do take that from him. They take that example. And don't simply just turn the channel and say, oh, you know, Stern's going soft. I'm going to try something else now because,
well, okay, but this is what I think's brilliant, is that he's gone soft, but he hasn't. He's still doing his funny, he's still funny and edgy, and it's weird. It's really weird to listen to him and to still hear Stern, but to hear him go, yeah, you know what, this is a fucking part of life too. He does it in a masterful way that it's just like his interviews where I'm like, how the fuck did you get them to admit that? How did you get them to just say that thing? And I'm like, this is some crazy magic that you've got. He just has that ability, and I think it's really cool. I mean, if I could work like at a radio station, I have no interest in any of them except for Stern's. Like, that would be a really cool job, like, I think, because I admire the work that he's doing, weirdly. And I know that's such a strange thing to say, but I think that he doesn't seem like the same guy from Private Parts. You know, he doesn't seem like that same guy. There's parts of him. It's not as if he's completely new or whatever in a weird way. He's still the same guy, but he's evolved. I love seeing people evolve.
Me too. And it's interesting to see people evolve on a world stage like that, because, you know, the bigger the name you are, the more chance you have to fuck up, and just fuck up out loud. There are all kinds of things that people do in their personal lives that they wouldn't want being public, and they don't have to worry about it because they're not a celebrity. Yeah. But when you're Howard Stern and you get lowered onto a stage in a Buttman costume on an award show, that shit's on video forever.
Yeah.
There's no going back. Just like Eminem. Eminem is chauvinistic and is, you know, just homophobic and everything that he was. You know, he evolved. But we're never going to forget the sense of his youth because he platinumed so many fucking albums, you know?
Well, we just talked about this privately. We talked about Sarah Silverman, how she had that blackface bit that she did on the Sarah Silverman program years ago, and how she kind of just goes, yeah, I did this, and I understand it upsets people, and I'm appalled by it. I can't change it. It's out there. And Stern's kind of doing the same thing where it's like, yeah, no, these are things that I did, and I can't change it even if I regret it. And I do cringe at these past things at times, but I can't say that didn't happen or, you know, you shouldn't hold me, you know, look, I understand the climate we're in, you know?
Right. You know, and I read something today, it's fairly simple, but it made perfect sense to me. You know, when you cringe at something that you did in the past, it just means that you evolved.
Yes.
That you've learned and grown from that.
Yeah.
And I do that shit frequently. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, we all do. And if you're not doing that, you need to reevaluate some things in your life. Yeah.
Really just kind of step outside of yourself for a minute and just, you know, consider some things. But anyway.
No,
that's really interesting about Howard Stern, and I'm glad that you put that in perspective, because that's something that I wouldn't normally consider, you know.
And it's my perspective, and if particularly other women don't want to even give him a shot, I'm like, that's fair.
That's okay too.
That's perfect. You have every right. My defense is that I really try to see like the best in people. Yeah. And I'm like, what? And I kind of look at people, I'm like, really, what are you putting out there? That's one thing I look at with a lot of, like, particularly men who are influential right now. I'm like, what are you putting out there? Not necessarily like, you know, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? Like, what is the vibe that you're putting out into the world? What are the ideas that you're putting out into the world? The little things that you're saying that I worry could influence negatively or positively. And then it goes, can that be changed? Can that not be changed? You know, it's a whole separate thing. But I really feel personally support towards, if I get that feeling that you're putting something out into the world that is desperately needed and men will listen to you in the case of Stern,
yeah,
go,
yeah.
man, go with God. Like keep doing it. And that's kind of my opinion on him at the moment. And that could change, just like everyone else, like he could, do something really shitty or something could go out. I mean, of course that could be that way. But as of now, I don't view him the way I think a lot of women maybe view him. I don't know. I don't know how popular he is, or unpopular is. I know that there's a divided feeling on Stern.
Yeah. And I mean, he is at the age now where it's kind of like, all right, he's kind of entered a harmless old man era of his life, so he gets that weird pass, kind of like other folks get.
Yeah, but sometimes when they get into that when guys get in that harmless old man stage that you're talking about, you just excuse shit, and I feel like he's not even excusing his own shit. Like, he's just going, no, that was fucking stupid. Listen to the Conan O'Brien. I feel like I'm not fully summarizing it well. That Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend episode with Howard Stern is good shit. I highly recommend it.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
You know who I wouldn't recommend checking out? Fucking Kid Rock, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't understand where this... I mean, I know he's a conservative and stuff.
Sure. And
why is he mad at her, Taylor Swift?
I don't know. If it seems like just jealousy. Okay, so there was a tweet earlier this week where Kid Rock, for some reason, spoke out against Taylor Swift, of all people. He basically, in so many words, said that the only reason that she's anti-Trump and a Democrat now is to get in good with Hollywood, or Hollyweird as he referred to it as, because that's...
Don't you love two things that I love? When people call Hollywood Hollyweird. Right. And when they call the news media the lamestream media. I'm like, oh my God.
It's right up there with sheeple.
So stupid.
Yeah.
You are a dumb person.
He really is. I mean, first of all, no one cares about Kid Rock. He's been... I don't even have the strength to talk about Kid Rock for this long, but I'm gonna soldier on here. We're gonna talk about what a fool he is. Like, I don't care about Taylor Swift. I'm not a fan of her music. I don't really care for her. She's fine. I got nothing against her, but I'm not like riding hard for Taylor Swift or anything like that. I used to listen to Kid Rock's music because I once was a dumb hormonal teenage boy.
You were with the what is it?
Ba with the ba, the bang to bang diggy. Yeah, that bullshit. But
I can honestly say the only Kid Rock song I ever liked was because of Sheryl Crow.
Yeah,
that was it. That's one of the few that I can say that. Look, I will fully admit when I like horse shit or liked horse shit or still like horse shit.
Yeah.
That is one of the few cases where I'm like, no thanks. Sheryl Crow? Yeah, I like Sheryl Crow enough to do this. But yeah, that's it.
He had to hitch his wagon to Sheryl Crow in order to be relevant again.
Yeah, she's so good.
He's tried so many genres and he's been kicked out of all of them, basically. He tried to do rap. We said hell no. He tried to do hard rock. Like, no, you're done with that. He tried country. Nobody paid attention. But it seems like the common factor in all of this shit is he always seems to rip somebody off. Like, he was taking old, guitar riffs from Metallica, Leonard Skinner, and all that stuff, and just trying to make them something that they're not. Man,
I remember when he wanted to be Bob Seger, so fucking bad. And I was like, really, dude? That's who you picked? You're like, yeah, I want to be Bob Seger.
That's his lane.
I don't think Bob Seger wants to be Bob Seger. What?
No. So, yeah, it was just kind of odd that he took a stab at her. And she's just living her life and doing her job. And, more power to her, man. She's got her fan base. She ain't heard nobody. Let Taylor Swift be Taylor Swift. That's fine. But what was great was when he made this dig talking about how she's trying to get in good with Hollywood, and saying, yeah, we all know how casting couches work or something like that. It was something reminiscent.
What a wonderful climate to tell such jokes.
Yeah. And basically it was like people were tweeting him pictures of his cameo in the critically acclaimed Joe Dirt. I lied. No one saw that movie except for David Spade's mom.
And both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Comedy Central's on in the background sometimes, so it's just on. And Kid Rock shows up on the TV. It's like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. So, yeah, Kid Rock, you're a fucking hypocrite. And you're out. No one cares about you, dude. Just sit your ass down.
I was very surprised that it trended on the level that it did. I guess we were just kind of bored and in between stories at the moment. I
guess. We just needed somebody to yell at besides Trump for a day, and he just was convenient.
That's true. We needed a break.
Yeah. And he's one of those old men that signs his name on tweets as well, which is kind of funny.
Kid Rock does?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, him and fucking Hulk Hogan. Maybe it's a racist thing. I don't know. Maybe that's like a sign of that.
Racists tweet differently? Tweet like your own kind.
Yeah. Like, the emoji game is one thing, but yeah, just signing your own name to tweets when it's from your account. What the fuck are you doing, dude? Yeah. So
that's got to be. I have people running my account. This is the actual me. So, like, you're only signing the shittiest ones, I guess? I don't know.
At least he owned it, Like, hey, this is me. I did this shit. I pooped here.
Which is another testament to his stupidity.
Absolutely.
That he's like, yeah, I own this. This is mine. I'm
At least he
didn't include suggestions about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. At least he didn't do the bullshit thing from about 5 years ago where people are like, I was hacked. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't me. Yeah. I'll get to the bottom of this, Yeah, okay. Remember when that used to be a thing?
That's like when OJ was like, I am going to find the killer.
Yeah.
Whoever did this, I will find them. And we're like looking around like, bud, did no one tell you? You fucking did it. Like, what?
We all know, man. It's not a big secret, man. We know. We know you got
away
with that.
That's still one of my favorite, like, true crime things. Of him going, I'm going to find the person who did this. We're like, bitch, what? What are you talking about?
Come on now.
Yeah.
We all know, dude. So, yeah, Kid Rock is bullshit.
He's
stupid. He is. There's that. I feel bad for even seeing my mouth feels wrong for even saying his name so many times. It's like just
It's not a great name either.
No.
Like that was the how many times did he write a different shitty name down on a little scratch pad
and land on Kid Rock?
And he was like, "That's the one.
That's it. That's my professional name from now on. That's me right there."
It's like when you watch Parks and Rec and they're like, no, we're Mouse Rat now. And you're like, really? That's the one you landed on? That's the one?
Or like, what was the name of the band on Orange is the New Black? Side Boob? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like that. That's really? Kid Rock, really? That's okay.
Yeah. See, you just get angry just thinking about his existence right there. Yeah. So on top of that tweet, everything else. Anyway, let's talk about.
Let's call him Child Jazz. Let's change it.
Yes. Child Jazz. Oh God, that'd be a nightmare. Just jazz written by or for children. Oh God.
Look, let's keep it. Let's keep it real. Just regular jazz can be bad enough.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the Kids Bop of jazz. Can you imagine?
Oh my God, Kids Bop jazz. Yes.
Now that's what I call smooth jazz.
Yeah. Oh my God, Kids Bop. I worked when I was getting my community service hours in for summer, like when you're applying to college, like you have to have X amount of community service hours. I worked with kids in this like technology. It was pretty cool. Like they were teaching kids how to program computer software and stuff like that. But it was like, you know, age ranges were 8 to 15 or I don't know, something like that. And they played Kids Bop. And I was just like, I'm gonna fucking die here. This is it. I'm done. Tap out. And then like
awful.
the kids, it was like they could sense that I didn't like them. And they didn't like, I was like, it's just kind of one of those things. Keep your tiny, gross hands away from me, and I'll stay away from you. In retrospect, I should not have done that, but I was like, I'm going to apply to film school, so I want to have technologies, you know. I was like,
well, to be fair, I mean, that's good words to live by at any stage of life. Keep your gross hands off me, and I'll do the same.
Yeah. It was, however many hours I put into it were too many. Right.
Yeah, man. You know, I did one of those summer programs too. Before I went to college, I did like Block 37 we had in Chicago, where they would teach you to put together a stage production and learn how to work on your resume as well. It was like the same class. It was interesting, but it was weird because somehow I was the oldest kid in this program, and everybody else was like a younger teen. And so I felt like the old man of this class.
What you're describing to me now is me in college. So, yeah. Yeah, that's just my life now in college. I'm like, oh, God damn it. When were you born? Fuck.
Well, yeah, it's like that list of popular apps that you sent me earlier. Half of these are fake. I'm like, you know, you're probably right.
Did you recognize half of those apps?
Grindr doesn't exist.
No, Grindr is real. I keep getting rejected. I don't know why, but I those apps. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is it? We'll post the picture in the Facebook group. If you want to get in the Facebook group, join our Patreon. That's how you get in there.
That's right.
But yeah, it was bad.
Weird shit, man.
So I briefly want to touch on this Game of Thrones thing.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Because it, frankly, is quite depressing for me.
Damn.
So, for Emmy nominations, you have to, if you want to qualify for original writing, best writing for, you know, a drama series or whatever, you have to submit scripts.
If you want to qualify for Emmys, you got to submit those scripts.
Yes.
Yes.
So, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, who were the creators of Game of Thrones, they submitted their scripts for the nominations. And because they're submitting, it's open. Like, it becomes open to the public kind of thing. Which is why, you know, at this point you can't submit, like, you know, if you're worried about something getting out, you can't really do it. And the realization that they are horrible writers is deeply depressing. Not only are they horrible writers, they don't know how to write screenplays. Like, their format is fucked. So, just reading some little bits from this, okay? This is okay. So obviously spoilers, guys.
Absolutely, yeah. If you haven't seen it by now, it's well, I'll say this: if you haven't begun Game of Thrones yet, by the time that you get to this episode, you'll forget all of this anyway. So it's fine.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the descriptions in here is her satanic, this is describing Dany, her satanic majesty's request. That's a description in a screenplay.
Okay. That sounds like,
Okay. This is, buddy, we're just getting started.
Oh boy. Buckle up.
The Dothraki scream and raise their, I don't know how to pronounce this, but their swords into the air. We have some badass looking Dothraki in the mix.
Hell yeah.
They said that in the fucking screenplay.
In the mix. Okay. Yeah.
Tyrion, who understands enough Valyrian to get the gist of what she's saying, looks around the ruined city. Okay, so that's a fine description. If this is liberation, he doesn't believe in liberation theology.
That makes little to no sense, but okay.
First of all, he's getting into the mind of the character, which is not something you do in screenplays. By the way.
No, you let the director and the actor make that decision.
Yeah. But, no.
Yeah, but no.
They're writing. Arya watched from afar, cool and hooded.
Cool.
I don't understand what that means. Appraising Dany and her forces. Arya hated Cersei as much as anyone. That doesn't mean she likes the new boss. To her, it looks like the Seven Kingdoms just traded one tyrant for another.
Wait, maybe it's the way you're reading it, because you're obviously disappointed with the content here. Let me take a stab at one. Is there another one in here?
Hold on, I'm trying to find the right one. That's
okay. We'll get to the Kit Harington isn't tall section here.
Yeah, go for that.
Okay. The massive dragon stares at the diminutive man, studying him with eyes that seem just as intelligent as Jon's own.
Okay.
No, that still sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you go to the next one, which is Drogon burning the Iron Throne? Why don't you go and read that one, which is in the green? Yeah.
It was by accident. That was supposed to be by accident.
Hold on. Just read the. He looks down at Jon forward.
Okay. He looks down at Jon. We see the fire build up in his throat. Jon sees it as well. He prepares to die. But the blast is not for him. Drogon wants to burn the world, but he will not kill Jon. He breathes fire on the back wall, blasting down what remains of the great red blocks of stone. We look over Jon's shoulder as the fire sweeps toward the throne, not the target of Drogon's wrath, just a dumb bystander caught up in the conflagration. I couldn't do it. That last bit was dumb.
Isn't that fucking stupid,
man?
That
is dumb. A dumb bystander caught up in the conflagration. So, the writing was bad. The writing was already bad. The idea was bad. This was a scene that I wish I didn't ever read what thought was put into it, because it just makes it seem so broy and douchey.
It makes it so much worse. It really does. And any defense that I had of them is really bad.
Oh, give him the Emmy. Give him all the Emmys, please. All of the Emmys.
And this makes me wonder, is this what they've been writing for years? Have their screenplays been this fucking terrible?
I read slush for Uncanny Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's I love doing it because you get an idea
real quick.
Different. Yeah.
The end of dialogue here. This is just some weird Bran, and LOL Bran's weird is the way that they describe it. Bran dialogue. And Drogon, any word? Samwell. He was last spotted flying east. Bronn. The further away, the better. Bran. Perhaps I can find him. Do carry on with the rest. Okay, so that's their dialogue. And then this is their description. That's weird. But so is the new king.
Wow, thanks for that, guys. Your words couldn't just speak for themselves. Thanks for having to point out.
Apparently, the actor who plays Bran thought it was a joke the first time he read it. He thought he was given a joke script.
If you look in the room, like as they're doing the read for the final episode, I know you've seen all the behind-the-scenes stuff too that HBO's put out there.
Yeah.
It does look like a lot of them aren't really like, oh, I'm so in shock of all that's going on. Yeah. It looks like they're like, really? This is what we're doing?
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I was pretty much done. There's more to it, but at one point they say that in the descriptions they go, Jon and Sansa both failed geography.
So they're just being funny. They're trying to be like amusing during this whole thing.
It's clear that they didn't want to do this, and look, it was clear before, that they were trying to end it so quickly that they put themselves on a shitty schedule. And they did that because they wanted to get out, and we were all like, okay, well, I guess that's what they're going to do. All right. They should have handed this show off to someone else. That is what is very apparent to me right now from reading this script. Why are you even doing this anymore?
Man.
I think, and to be honest, if it's contract, HBO should have fired them. They should have been fired.
I think at that point, it would have been a bigger debacle to part ways with them. Like, I don't think there'd be any type of, like, clear way to do it. And then, on top of that, we would have been inundated all this time by the same Zack Snyder apologists. Like, release the Snyder cut and all that stuff. Yeah. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
I love that shit, man. It's hilarious that they think that there's some magical cut of Justice League that exists from Zack Snyder that is just like head and shoulders better than what we got. When in actuality, just objectively, it's gonna be worse because one, it wasn't finished, and two, they saw what they had and thought it was bad enough to have to bring in somebody else.
Yeah. It's just deeply upsetting for me because I love Game of Thrones so much. Yeah. Game of Thrones. I love the stories, and then I went, okay, he's not done with the books.
Right.
So I'll have the show. At least I'll know the ending. At least I'll know this and that. And the conclusion that I came to, I'm like, okay, so what you got here is they didn't know the ending.
Right.
He had some bullet points, but they don't know how to write at all. They only knew how to mildly adapt.
Yeah.
And as soon as they had to write, they're fucked. It was done. And that sucks. But anyway, so we'll post this article. You can go read more of it if you want.
There's a lot more to be disappointed in.
And just know that throughout the entire process, they're breaking every rule of screenwriting. And they're not even doing it for good reason.
One of the most, forgiving, apologetic people of the entire experience of the final season of Game of Thrones. You fought tooth and nail to give it a fair shake. You wanted people to respect the fact that, it had been such a long journey, and these are the guys that got us there, and just, all that stuff. You wanted to give them a fair shake. And just to see this,
this feels like the nail in the coffin for me. If it's you're either completely talentless or you didn't give a shit.
Right. But the reason I bring that up is because you're not...
it's unacceptable.
You're not jumping on the bandwagon. You really did try to give them the benefit of the doubt longer than anybody else that I know. Even reading, even listening to, the downsides, the bad reviews of it. Just that's not really fair. You tried to give them a fair and balanced shake.
I did. I initially, when the finale ended, I was like, it's perfect. Yeah. I said that. I've done that numerous times before. but it's kind of cool. And then, time wears on me, and I'm like, oh, man, that didn't make sense.
The silver lining here for me, though, is the fact that even given... seeing what they have here and seeing, what they actually came up with, what the result was, is a testament to how great the rest of the team is. The actors and the producers and just the second unit directing staff, the folks that came out there and really tried to shine up this turd of a screenplay to make it something watchable. Kudos to them. I mean, we saw these characters just get these untimely demises, and they made it seem like it mattered. So, kudos to the team, for sure.
Yeah. And I still want those books, George. Please.
Please.
I still want them.
I wonder if it's affected his, gumption at this point. I don't want to touch that ever again because they fucked it up. Or is he I need to set my baby right? What's it going to be?
I saw someone kind of conspiracy theorying, and I'm not one to normally buy into conspiracy type things, but when they said it, I was like, oh, fuck. Was that this is what George wanted all along, which was just to become a celebrity and to get the success and to get all of this money and to get to the point where he can make like be a producer of movies and everything like that, and that he never intended on finishing them. That is a very negative, and I'm not saying I buy into it.
Right.
But it made me for a second go, fuck.
You know what? Say what you will about Mark Millar. When he sets out to, pitch something in comic book form, he finishes those stories.
He does.
So that's a testament to him being a professional, if anything. I don't like all the choices he makes.
That's such a conspiracy thing about George R. R. Martin. I want to believe the best in him. I also think that he has a way of weaving a story that clearly they don't fucking understand. That, even if everything is the same, the way that he does it will probably it'll make sense.
Yeah.
Because that was the worst part, was feeling like the pieces of the puzzle were probably correct, but that they were shoved into the wrong sections.
I can't blame him too hard.
That was what really bothered me.
I can't be mad at him too tough, because what would anybody do in this situation with the star that he attained?
Yeah.
The celebrity that he attained so fast.
Yeah.
When it started to get popular. I mean, he's doing red carpets. People are asking him all these various questions. He's got to go to all these like sci-fi award shows and everything like that. Where do you find the time? Where do you really find the time to,
I hope that it encourages him even more, because now maybe he can go, all right, there's a little bit of pressure off of me. And now people want the books more than ever at the same time. Like, I don't have to worry about disappointment because they already fucked it up. So I can only improve from here, right? Maybe? I don't know. All he has to do is change the ending a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
If he changes the ending, he's got an instant bestseller if it wasn't already before.
Right. Just a little bit. It doesn't even have to be completely different. It could just be like, alternate director's cut ending. This is what I wanted to happen. Just market it that way.
John and Danny should have had a child. It doesn't make any sense. Everything. Oh my god, I can't do this.
In the book?
Look, no, in the show, everything leads up to this. Right. It makes sense. The fire and ice. They have a child, and then basically what they should have done is, instead of saying she goes crazy, they both are sane and good, but one of them dies, and that's the tragedy. And then there's this child, and they basically have to raise the child that's going to be the Song of Fire and Ice, that's going to be the future. Yep. Because here's the fucking thing. Here's the fucking thing about Bran. Okay. Is that they're acting like Bran is some sort of democratic solution. He's not. The wheel is going to go right back in place when his bitch ass dies.
He's the kid that just trips balls every now and then and sees things. That's all.
He is still a part. He's still a king. They're like, he can't have children. That's great. What the fuck are you talking about? You're telling me that you're going to pick someone who can't have children every time? No, you're not. You're going to pick someone, and the monarchy is going to be restored. It's going to happen.
The biggest middle finger.
You just put a fucking Band-Aid on this.
The biggest middle finger was when Sam pitched, a democratic solution, and they all laughed at him. I'm like, fuck you guys.
No, that was actually the most realistic response to it, which is fuck democracy, because we're so far back in the Stone Ages here, Yeah, that made sense to me. The fact that, this is another thing too, no one suggested John. I understand what he just did, but nobody brought up the fact that John is both the rightful heir and possibly saved them all from annihilation. No, what are they worried about? Fucking Grey Worm?
That one dude's mad though.
What's he gonna do?
But he's angry though. You gotta.
They could have. Oh my god, Grey Worm doesn't know the customs. They're like, we're sending John to the wall. All they do is stick him in a fucking basement for a while. Grey Worm's leaving. He's leaving. Right. They don't have to actually follow through on sending John to the wall.
Just send John to the wall. Get him a haircut and a shave. Nobody will know the difference. What are they gonna say? There's so many white people there. They're going to confuse him with another white dude. It's fine.
I mean, I was fine with John being free in the North because he's not at the wall. He's not. There's no way. He's king of, he's king of the true North now.
Like, no, he
he's
boned
gonna
out of
go
there.
off and have wildling babies and live his own life. He's probably got the happiest ending of the bunch, next to Sansa. Arya is just gonna die. What's west of Westeros? She's probably just gonna fucking die in
it's
that
the
boat.
edge of the world. This is it's actually a flat Earth there, so it's just the edge of the world.
Who knows?
She's gonna fall off the game board. That's what's gonna happen. So that's
I don't know. It's tough.
It's
why
tough.
Why did I talk about Game of Thrones again? That was a mistake.
Yeah. Because you wanted to prepare yourself for the Wall of Weird. That was a terrible segue.
Wall of Weird is
Wall of Weird. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Wall of Weird from Huffington Post. David Moye. Just so you guys know, if you ever want the links, I always post them in our Facebook group.
That's
However, if you're questioning the link, if you want the link, message us, post on our wall or whatever. I'll send you the link.
We'll give you what you need, baby.
Yeah, I have no problem, particularly sending you the links of the writers who did this work, so you can share or whatever. Colorado bear smashes through wall like Kool-Aid man.
Oh, yeah?
A bear... Hold on, I gotta stop my cat from chewing on the cord. Stop it, you little shit. Alright. He's grumpy at me, but he's fine. Okay. A bear entered a Colorado home Friday looking for eggs. But his exit was straight out of a Kool-Aid commercial. Estates Park homeowner John Slowinski said the bear entered the house through an open door after smelling some goodies in the garage.
Wow.
So I guess they had some, okay, so it says, instead of closing the door, he went upstairs for a few minutes. He was giving the bear a chance to, he was giving the hungry bear a chance to get inside, get some deviled eggs that were in the trash can. It says, however, things got tricky when the animal accidentally closed the door with the trash can and became stuck inside the home.
Wow.
So this guy was like, oh yeah, okay, just go ahead and take some of the deviled eggs, bud. Okay. And the bear did manage to get out by taking, it says, this is the actual police. This is what they said. Upon officers' arrival, said bear forcibly breached a hole in the wall like the Kool-Aid man and made his escape. That's what the police officer said.
In this day and age, even the bears are scared of the cops. That's what we've become, America. This is terrible. This is awful. Bears Kool-Aid manning out of houses and whatnot. So what gets me...
And then they warned you not to put deviled eggs in your trash can for fear of bears.
The homeowner was just resolved to the fact that, like, he left the door open and the bear came in. He's like, all right, that's on me. I can't be mad. Like, the bear's here. Let's just let the bear just do what he does and then leave.
I know this is Colorado, but I gotta go, oh yeah. I gotta go like, oh yeah, the bear he got in there. It's not, I know that's not Colorado voice, but I don't care, guys, because I'm doing my voices.
Hey there, the bear got in, and you gotta let him do his thing. Once he gets in, the bear's not gonna leave until he gets his deviled eggs.
we just let him in. He's good. Yeah. His name's he's got a picnic basket there.
He's got a picnic basket. Let him in. His name's Boomer.
You're not gonna let a picnic basket in? What are you going to do? What kind of person are you? Huh? What kind of neighbor are you to not let a bear in with a picnic basket? He needs his eggs.
He brings his own picnic basket?
He's got a fresh pitcher of lemonade. What are you going to do?
So the bear basically ate these nasty, trash, deviled eggs and then had to bone out because he probably had to poop after eating those nasty deviled eggs and just Kool-Aid it through the wall.
Animals have different immune systems, though, so.
That's true.
Or digestive systems, I guess, is what I was thinking.
Did you ever shave one of those bears in Red Dead Redemption?
Oh my god. I'm glad you finished the Red Dead Redemption part, because I was trying to process the first half of that sentence.
What? Have I ever done?
Like, only once. It was a weird day.
It was a very weird day.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
They look very odd when they're shaved. Like, even you can find a picture of a shaved bear online too. Just like
want to see
It's
that.
very odd looking, man. It's kind of disturbing because they're so like small after they're shaved too.
That always freaks me out. All animals are like that though.
Now-
with fur. You're like, you look like a wet rat. Like what?
I'm gonna Google shaved bear and it's gonna ruin my search history. So
Ooh, have fun with that. I don't
Yeah.
want to know.
Well, yes, I do enjoy leather sport. Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, shaved bear.
It's just testicles, isn't it? Wall to wall ball.
Like, is this what you're looking for? Make sure to turn safe search on first, and then Google shaved bear. So yeah, they just look really like elaborate
If the images
dogs.
aren't disturbing enough, you can post them when we post the episode in the group.
So shaved bear basically looks like a human being wearing a dog suit, trying to crawl around on all fours, and it's just
It's not selling me, bud.
no
That's
man.
not
It's
happening.
creepy. It's the creepiest. Just letting you know right now. It ain't natural. Bears need hair.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Bears need hair.
Bears need hair. It sounds like a children's
Donate
book.
your hair to bears.
1-800
All of a
Bears
sudden we
needs
start
hair.
playing Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah.
Did you know that so many bears need hair? Like just, oh my god, so dumb.
It is. So yeah, bears need hair.
Yeah.
What else? Like our next note for the wall of weird is just we had Prince Robot.
Yeah, you sent me that thing, but I didn't have the article.
Oh.
So I didn't. There's
So-
a guy like he's wearing a
An old like
what is it? He sent it to me.
a CRT TV
Yeah,
as a helmet
yeah,
and delivering TVs to people's doorsteps and just walking away.
yeah. Just dropping off TVs like a fucking creeper,
Yeah.
and he looks like Prince Robot from Saga. So that's just
Like, can you see through one of those if you put it on? Like, if you take no, because I guess the tube would be part of the glass, right? No.
you could remove everything but the front glass, right? So I don't know.
I guess that's
I would
that's a
say
head
it's
scratcher.
it's murky but translucent.
Well, okay.
I
So
would say
here's-
you could see like you remember how Michael Myers has how he can see a little bit, but it's all blurry and fuzzy in like the beginning of the movie because he's wearing the mask.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say it's something like that.
Like I'd be aggravated too if that were the case. But I will supplement it with this. I've seen people cosplay as Prince Robot the Fourth, and they've had those non-reflective, TVs on. So
Isn't that heavy though, or is it just plastic? It's not that
it's
bad.
just
I mean,
plastic. I'm sure they've gutted it and everything, and it's just like a small like computer monitor that they're using
Yeah.
more than likely.
yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I wouldn't imagine you could look outside of one of those from the inside. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to test it out.
He's guided by scent and sexual arousal. And that's it. That's all
it.
you need in life, my friend.
That's it.
That's it.
So that seems like a good place to stop, right?
Yeah. Oh, dear God, please make it stop. So hopefully they'll catch Prince Robot.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes, and we'll of course once we find the link to the article, put it in the notes as well. Thank you guys for joining us on another excellent adventure.
Next week is going to be different
Yeah.
for the show.
Yeah.
We're taking a week off.
That's right.
However, you will still get an episode. So, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you are getting next week's episode a week early.
Yep.
If you're in that $5 up tier. And we're going to be talking about our favorite candy bars. It's really fun. There's a special guest. Yay.
Ooh.
So that's going to go up this week for the Patreon people. Next week, instead of releasing a new episode, we're going to give you guys a Patreon preview episode, and we're going to release that to the public. So you guys can listen to that one and let us have a week off so Matt can go on vacation and I can prep for back to school. to prove to my dad that I'm not a fool. Anyway, so we kind of need that time off, so we double recorded tonight, and yeah, so you'll still get an episode next week. If you're already a subscriber, it's going to be a repeat, but if you're not, it's a nice preview to what you could get if you sign up for Patreon.
That's right, folks. And we always want to let you know we appreciate, you guys chipping in and cheering us on as we go through this journey, this adventure, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Stay tuned to the social medias. We'll post our graphic novel challenge picks because honestly,
I do have mine.
I'm not prepared, so
I could just say mine real quick. I'm jumping back into Lumberjanes. I've read the
Nice.
first 2 volumes. I'm just going into 3. So
Okay.
that's my pick.
Well, if I guess I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters because I just got
You don't
volumes.
have to pick right now, bud.
Well,
You can
no,
just post
but
it.
I want to pick Ghostbusters. Then I'm looking for an excuse to pick it because volume 3 and 4 just showed up in the mail today, and I'm super excited to see how they transition from the classic team to the new Ghostbusters in the storyline. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, this has been a fun one.
It has.
Sorry I ranted about Game of Thrones. Everyone's like, God damn it, Lex. Last week we had to hear about your stupid fucking diet. And this week we have to hear about how mad you are that the Dragon Show betrayed you.
Hey, you know what?
My God.
That's okay. This is like the culmination. This is what everybody's been waiting to hear. So if you didn't like it, you can fast forward.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever.
Oh my God, the Dragon Show made me angry. Oh.
Why do you sound like Aziz Ansari?
I don't know. I just watched his special. Maybe that's it.
Oh, man.
Maybe it's in the back of my brain.
Oh, shoot. We'll have to talk about that next time because I am curious about your thoughts. So,
Okay.
yeah. Tune in next time when we talk about that. Thank you guys for listening. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope everybody enjoyed your summer. I'm Matt Peters.
I'm Lex Lutz.
And be excellent to each other.